let's talk about something that I'm fairly knowledgeable about, addiction. I was maybe 29, 30 years old. I've been an auto technician my whole life, 45 years. When I think I was 29, 28 or 29 years old, I had a car fall on me and messed my back up. And they wanted to do surgery and blah, blah, blah. Of course, at that time, and even still to this day, I ain't letting them assholes cut on me. Screw you. But during that process, I let them do everything else but cut on me. They wanted to put this steel cage around my back and how much better I was going to be. Well, yeah, right. So, anyways, during that process, I was letting them do whatever they wanted to do, to limits. I got introduced to pain medication. This was pre pain management type medication, or the way that you got it. But I got introduced to it, and I started out with the Vicodin and the not the seriously hard stuff, I guess you could call it. But I guess from till about 10 years ago, that's really when my life started to change. But about 10 years ago, I made a decision that, before I get to that, the last 10 years of that experience of being on those pain meds, I was on Percocet and Oxycontin, and 10 to 15 years. I have been on pain meds for close to 30 years of my life, consistent every day. I, there's there's two ways that you get addicted. One of them, I think, is the physical addiction. Your body gets used to that, and that's just normal. It's just how it is. Then there's the psychological addiction. And I was really seriously overprescribed pain meds. That's their game. Keep you in it. I didn't take what they prescribed me. I mean, at when I finally decided to get off of this shit, man, you would not believe the amount of those things I had. You'll later learn about it in the story, but so, I was on this shit for most of my life, and I like to think I'm strong-willed. I mean, some of my childhood, I don't let anything control me. Nothing. And it stems from my childhood. Everything comes from me, nobody else. And it's just the way I grew up. That part of me makes it really difficult to be in a relationship, because I am very independent, and I am now more so than maybe back then. But I don't like being controlled. I like things just to happen naturally and let them be the way they are. And when somebody tries to change me or critique me or try to make me fit their mold, it's just not the thing to do with me. But anyways, so I was on that pain medication that long, and one day, I'll never forget it. I was at work, and I was looking down, and I saw two paths. One path, I knew there was no return. There was no coming back. And the other path has brought me here to where I am today. So I decided, okay, it's time. It's time for me to get off these things. I want my life different. I want something more than what I'm getting out of my life. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to slowly taper myself off this shit. Well, I'm kind of aggressive. I'm either all in or all out, and I can't never find the fucking middle. But so I think I'm just going to stop this fucking shit and move on, Wrong. Mentally, yes. Physically, no. No. You can't be on them kind of medications for that long and think you're just going to quit, because it's not. So I initially tried to just stop them, and I couldn't. I saw that it was going to be a problem, and I'm by myself. I don't have anybody to stay with me or watch me or whatever. But so I'm struggling with how I'm going to do this, and so I decide, well, maybe I'll check out some of these places that help you get off of the shit. So I find this place, and I go and visit it, check it out, and set up an appointment and go in there. And this place, I didn't realize at the time, but they're not used to getting insurance. They're used to dealing with people that have no money. That's what they're used to, and it was a pretty nasty fucking place, to be honest with you. That I had to make up my mind that I had to get what I could get, and my purpose of being there was to get off of those meds. So everything else was secondary, and that place was a fucking shithole. It was terrible. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. So before I go in, I explained to these people that, look, I don't have a lot of time to do this. This is going to have to be a crash course. I have a life. I have a job. I have a house at the time. I had, all the bullshit. But I'm trying to explain to them, I don't have that kind of time. This is going to have to be 2 weeks, and this is going to have to be a crash course. But I made that really point blank, right up front, and explained it. And of course, I talked to a lot of different people there prior to coming in so I could get a feel for what was going on. But the day I come in there, one of these counselors come up to me, and they're trying their best to fly me at their cost. It's no cost to me, right? And they're going to fly me out to Utah or Nevada. I can't remember what state it was. And to one of their, which I would almost guarantee one of their better facilities, because the one I was in wasn't. But they wanted to fly me out there. And I'm like, oh, no. Red flags were going off. There's that control thing. You're not putting me in that position. Put me in a different state and then, cause me problems is what they were trying to do. But what they were trying to do was make a poster boy out of me for their facilities, is what they were trying to do. Look, man, I'm not into all that right now. I'm into getting in here, doing what I got to do, and get out and, get back and start over my life. That's what I'm trying to do. But long story short, I didn't go. So I'm in there, and they, when you first initially come in there, they have a nurse that checks you all out and blah, blah, blah. Well, I had some health issues. We'll leave it like that. And so they took me over to the hospital, and I'm over at the hospital, and, I've been off that pain medication. Most of it. I'm still taking some, but it's not nowhere near what I was normally taking. I weaned myself off as much as I could prior to going in there. But I go to the hospital, and one of the doctors comes in, and he goes, "Mike, you're a mess, man." I said, "Yeah, well, imagine that." But he's watching me squirming and struggling because of my back, because of the pain. And he knows I'm in there, and I've come from, a detox facility. And I'm not going to say one of the first things he does, but I'm laying there in that bed, and he's watching me. And when you deal with something for so long, you don't pay much attention to it. But, if you're in pain and you're moving around and you're trying to get out of that pain, and he's watching me, and he sees I'm in pain, and first thing he does, gets me some pain pills. Knowing I just came from a detox center to that hospital and going back to that detox center. So he gives me some pain medication, tells me what I need to do and all this kind of shit. But long story short, I go back. Well, when I go back, you know, they know that he gave me pain medication. And so before they can do anything, they got to let that shit come out of me before they can do anything. So it made it kind of rough because coming off of that stuff, man, I'm telling you what, it's difficult. It's very difficult. I was doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, all kinds of crazy shit. I would kind of like wake up and I'd be standing face forward into a wall. The only way I could sleep is by walking. As crazy as that sounds, but I could sleep, but I had to be walking to do it. But anyways, I'm going through some really bad withdrawals, and nobody there compares to what I'm going through right now. And everybody's fucking eyes are on me. A lot of the people that are actually in there trying to detox. But anyways, I'm like 2-3 days into this, and there's this medicine. I forget what it's called. But they give me this medicine, and what it does is it makes all your withdrawals come at once, and boom, and then it's like it's done. You don't have to go weeks and weeks and weeks of those withdrawal symptoms. And you got to keep in mind, somebody that's been on that shit for 29, 30 years, that's serious shit. So they give me this stuff, and they give it to me like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, man. I mean, I couldn't sleep anyways, but they told me it was something to help me sleep. All right. But I ended up, I took it, and I went to sleep. And maybe an hour or two, but I mean, you know, when you haven't slept for 2 or 3 days and you get an hour or two, it feels really good. But I wake up and I come walking down the hallway, and I mean, I'm really in fucking zombie land. I have no fucking idea about anything, but I'm walking down the hallway of that place, and I'm going to go outside and smoke a cigarette. Well, when I turn the corner, you kind of walk into like a big living room area where everybody kind of hangs out, and I turn the corner, and as I do, everybody in there is fucking staring at me. And I don't really know why, and I really don't care, because all I want to do is go smoke a cigarette. And so I go towards the door to go out and smoke a cigarette, and one of the guys, he was one of the younger kids in there. He's a good kid. He had Valium addiction, and that's really, really, Valium and alcohol are two of the worst, at least from what I know, two of the worst things to come off of. Those can kill you. But I go to walk outside, and I forget his name. He goes, "Mike." He goes, "How you doing?" And I turned around and I looked at him, and I was like, "I'm okay. What's up?" It still hadn't sunk in. And as I turned and went to walk out the door, I thought, wait a minute. I'm not going through the withdrawals anymore. It was really fucking amazing. But I realized it. And man, I was unbelievably happy. I mean, it was great. I felt like I made that hurdle. I had I got past it, and that's all I cared, was I made that hump. I got over it, and everything's going to be good from then on. And that was my thought, But so I'm in there, and at some point when you're actually off of that shit, you'll be starting to speak with counselors and shit like that. But so I'm speaking with one of the counselors, and I reiterate, this is going to be 2 weeks now. I don't have that kind of time. I've got a job. I've got things I got to take care of. I don't have that kind of time. But they didn't want to hear that shit. They did not. They were trying their best. They were going to make me a poster boy for that company. But I mean, I literally had to fight. Yeah, wait, I'll finish explaining the story. So I'm in there. It's on my second week, and I speak with that counselor, and I reiterate that fact. I'm not going to stay in there months and months and months. It's just not going to happen. So I finally get to the point where I'm saying, okay, it's time. I need to go on home. And so what the first thing they did, they tried to stop me. One of the very first things they did was these 2 or 3 counselors, therapists, psychologists, whatever, they took me in this room and they start their bullshit, and one of the things we were in this conversation, one of the things I said, well, I guess I can understand that you all don't realize I'm that one in a million. And I can understand that, but you're not going to keep me here. You're not. It's just not going to work like that. And I gave them really, for these shrinks to, when you got 3 of them kind of standing over you, staring at you and analyzing you, and I'm just not in that mood. I'm not. This is how things are going to be, contrary to what you think they're going to be. So I went through that bullshit, and of course, I'm confident those shrinks couldn't really come up with anything. I mean, they probably could, but it was going to have to be pretty serious to force me into staying there. They're going to have to pull some kind of bullshit to do it, and I don't think they wanted to. At least, not with me, anyways. So I leave out of that little whatever you want to call it, and I take a couple of days and think, and I thought, okay, and I let them know I'm going to be going home, and they have my keys, my wallet, my phone, and they say it's locked up in a safe, and they said, well, the person that has the key to that safe is not here, and so we can't give you your stuff. More fucking games with these people. So I said, okay, they'll be in tomorrow, right? Yeah, all right, I'll stay another night. Fine, not a big deal. One night's not going to kill me. Get up next morning and it's the same fucking bullshit. They're fucking playing their fucking games. So I said, look, you got an hour. And in an hour, if you don't give me my stuff, I'm either walking out that door without my stuff, but you're not going to force me to stay here anymore. I want my belongings and I'm ready to go. Now you can either facilitate that or we'll do it a different way. That motherfucker still never gave me my shit. Okay, my wallet, my keys, my phone. So I walked out that fucking door. I went to a phone. I got a phone. I can't remember. I got a phone called shit. I forget what you call them anymore. I'm going to say it a cab, but that's going to make me that old motherfucker. I can't remember the name of them. But anyways, I had one come pick me up, take me home. And man, it was amazing to be home. To be in your own bed, your own chair, your own refrigerator, your own TV, and do what the fuck it is you want to do. So I went home, stayed that night, and got up the next morning and thought, okay, I'm going to get my shit. And I went back there and I got my shit. So that's just a drop in the bucket of me going through that shit, man. What I came to find out, the coming off of that medication initially wasn't the hard part. It wasn't at all. That was the easy part. The next 9 or 10 years, that's what'll kick your ass. Your body adjusting, to what it's been used to doing for 30 fucking years. Your mind adjusting. And man, I'm telling you, it's rough. It's very, very rough. Luckily, I was such a dumbass that I thought the hard part was over with, and that's what I thought, and that's what I believed, and so everything else was secondary, and that's kind of what allowed me to, part of what allowed me to keep moving forwards in it. But if you remember in the beginning of the story, I talked about how many of these pills they gave me, you know, keep in mind, OxyContin and Percocet. But what I started doing was I had mounds of these things, man. I can't express how many of these things I had. And what I did was I piled them all up on my dresser, right behind my alarm clock. So every fucking morning that alarm clock goes off, guess what I see? Them pills. There they are. And I mean, I never fucking wavered, man. I never looked at them and thought, well, maybe I'll take a half of one. Or it never entered my fucking mind. The alarm clock would go off. I would see them. I'd get up and get ready, go to work and do my thing. And, you know, I mean, it was a struggle, but coolest thing, I think one of the coolest things I've ever done, because it really I've carried that in my life in other situations. Put it in front of your face every day until one day you know you're done. And that's what I did. I put them in my face every day until one day I threw them all away. I knew I was done. You know, I guess in a way, I kept them there as a crutch. They were there. I could go there. But I didn't. You know, so it was a dual purpose thing. So that began my path, and that was the start of really my life changing. You know, one of the things that goes along with coming off of that medication, especially when you're on it that long, it really fucks your body up. It really changes things, and you know, when you finally get off of those things and stop taking them, your body is, God, man, it don't know what the fuck to do. It don't. Everything that you would consider normal for a body to do, not mine, no. It was a bitch. As embarrassing as this might sound, I mean, I shit my fucking pants. It was very difficult, and to this day, health wise, I'm still paying for it. Health wise. That's what it does to your body. It fucks it up, and I don't know if some of it's repairable or some of it isn't. But ever since I got off of those things, man, my health went to shit. And I'm still struggling with that today. But, you know, for the longest time, I would go and speak in groups and in different places about addiction. And I've never, even to this very day, to this very moment, I have never, ever found anybody that experienced how I did it. You know, and for the longest time, man, I'm like, how did I do that? You always hear all these people, you know, they come off and they relapse. It's time, man. I'm like, how did I do that? You always hear all these people, you know, they come off and they relapse, and they come off and they relapse, and they do this and they do that. I didn't do none of that. I turned away and walked and never looked back. So during my trying to give back with addiction, I've never found anybody that's done it like I did it, and I was really curious. I wanted to see, you know, why was I able to do that? You know, some of it I like to think is that because I'm strong-minded. I don't allow things to control me, whatever the fuck they are. You know. if something controls me, it's because I'll allow it, if that makes sense. But, it's like cigarettes, right? I smoke cigarettes, and I know it's killing me. I know it's not good for me, but I enjoy it. And so I smoke. I know as well as I'm sitting here, if I decided, you know what, I've had enough, I'm not going to smoke anymore, I won't do it, and that'll be the end of it. But for the longest time, like I said, I was trying to understand why was I able to do it like that. That 1 in a million. Why? Why me? So, God, man, I hate when I lose my train of thought. I was doing so good there. I can tell you, part of the things that happened to me health-wise was being diabetic. I like to think it's because of that pain medication coming off of it. It really fucks your body up, and it fucks it up in a lot of different ways that we don't understand. But I became diabetic, and I'm telling you, now this is going to sound absolutely fucking crazy, but when you think about what you know about addiction and pain medications and all that, opiates, all that kind of shit, and we hear a lot about it and how bad it is and all those kind of things. Well, for me, it wasn't like that. But the one thing that really made me understand addiction was fucking sugar. Fucking sugar. I have relapsed on sugar more. I've never relapsed on pain meds. Never. Not once. Never even thought about it. But fucking sugar, you would not believe. So now, because of sugar, I understand addiction, but in a different way. Sugar for me is not good. It can kill me, and I'll binge. It's relapsing. You'll binge on it, and you'll fucking eat all this fucking candies and all this fucking donuts and all this shit, man. And to the point, it put me in the hospital. And every time I would binge, it got worse and worse and worse. And it made it harder to come back. Every fucking time it got worse and worse. Coming back and rebounding from it, it took longer and longer and longer. But I understood addiction through sugar. Sugar is, man, when I make a comparison of sugar compared to an opiate, sugar is powerful. Fucking powerful. And, even when you really start to think about it, I've posted a couple of things. Watch a child first taste of sugar. Watch their face. It's fucking amazing. Sugar is very, very, very addictive. Very addictive. And they know it. Look in your fucking foods. You go looking in food, and you're going to find it in everything. Every fucking thing. Try to fucking find food without it. It's a bitch. It's a bitch. But that's their point. That's their whole point. It's why they put it in there. It's addictive. It is. Some of us, I don't know. Maybe, at least for me. Maybe it's not for everybody, but at least for me, it was very, very, that was my drug of choice. Sugar. Imagine that. So that was, of course, there's a whole lot of other bullshit that goes along with that, but that was kind of my experience of coming off of those pain medications and addiction. It's everywhere. It's in everything. But it's really amazing. If you ever get a chance, I've posted a couple of videos on my Facebook. God, that you probably can never find them with all the other bullshit I post in there. But I did it on purpose. I had found this video of a child's first taste of sugar. I mean, I think it was chocolate or ice cream. I can't remember what it was, but it was sugar. And if you saw this child's face and this child's reaction, my God, that is powerful. Sugar. But anyway, so that's my story. That's part of my story when it comes to that shit. So